You wake up, and you can't move. Not your arms, not your legs, not your mouth. You're awake, your eyes work. You can see your own room, and there's something in it. Here's the part that should not be possible. People in Japan describe it. People in Brazil describe it. Newfoundland, Turkey, Egypt, medieval Europe, all of them, separately, describing the same figure. We'll get to why in a few minutes. First, what's actually happening to your body. This is sleep paralysis, explained. Okay, start here. Every night when you go into REM sleep, the stage where you dream most, your brain does something drastic. It switches off your muscles. Not your heart, not your breathing, but everything you'd normally move on purpose. Arms, legs, neck, voice. Your brain sends a signal down the spine that blocks the motor neurons, and you go completely limp. Researchers call it REMatonia, and it's protecting you, because in REM, you're dreaming. You're running, falling, fighting. If your body carried out those instructions, you'd be doing it in a real room with real walls and real stairs. So, the paralysis is not the malfunction. The paralysis is the safety catch. Now. Sleep paralysis is what happens when the timing slips. Your mind wakes up, and the safety catch doesn't let go. So for a few seconds, sometimes a minute or two, you're in a state that shouldn't exist. Conscious, aware, eyes open. With a body still running the REM program, you're awake inside a sleeping body. And it always ends, every single time. Nobody has ever stayed there. Almost everyone who's had it says the same thing. Something is sitting on my chest. There's a physical reason. In REM, your breathing changes, it gets shallow, and it's handled mainly by your diaphragm. The muscles between your ribs are switched off with everything else. So, you try to take a big, deliberate breath, and you can't. The muscles you'd use aren't listening. Your brain notices. It gets a signal that says, not enough air, and I can't fix it. And your brain does what brains do. It looks for a cause. Something is pressing on me. There's an old word for this, incubus, a creature that sits on your chest while you sleep. There's a famous painting of it from 1781, a small crouching demon on a sleeping woman's ribs. That painting is a symptom, drawn. Now the harder part, the presence. During sleep paralysis, your threat detection is running hot. You're in REM, which is already an emotionally loud state, and your amygdala, the alarm system, is wide open. At the same time, your body is sending panic signals it can't act on. So, you have a brain screaming, threat, with almost no information about what the threat is. And an unresolved alarm doesn't just sit there. Your brain fills the gap. It builds something. Researchers who study this sort them into three types. The first is the intruder, a presence in the room, a shadow near the door, someone standing just outside where you can look. The second is the incubus, the pressure, the chest, the not breathing. And the third is the strangest, vestibular motor, floating, rising off the bed, looking down at yourself from above. That third one happens because the system that tracks where your body is in space is still running dream physics. Your body says, I'm not where I should be. And your brain says, then you must be floating. Which brings us back to the thing I said at the start. In Japan, it's kanashibari, to be bound in metal. In Newfoundland, it's the old hag. In Brazil, pisadeira, the woman who steps on your chest. In Turkey, karabasan. In Egypt, and much of the Islamic world, a jinn. In Scandinavian folklore, the mara, a creature that rides you in your sleep. That last word is worth sitting with. Mara, night mara, nightmare. The word we use for a bad dream comes from a monster people believe sat on sleepers' chests. None of these cultures were comparing notes. They were describing the same neurological event in whatever language they had for it. And in the last few decades, the story updated again. Some accounts of alien abduction, paralyzed in bed, a figure at the end of the bed, unable to speak, map onto sleep paralysis almost exactly. Same experience, new monster. So, how common is this? A large review pooling dozens of studies found that roughly 8% of people have had it at least once. Among students, it's closer to 3 in 10, higher again in people already dealing with anxiety or a psychiatric condition. So, if it's happened to you, you're in enormous company. What makes it more likely? Not enough sleep. An irregular schedule, shift work, jet lag, exams, high stress. And one that surprises people, sleeping on your back. Across studies, episodes happen far more often when people are lying face up. Nobody is completely sure why, but if it happens to you often, it is the easiest thing on this list to change. If it happens tonight, here's what actually helps. Don't fight it. Struggling raises the panic, and the panic feeds the hallucination. Fighting makes it worse and longer. Move something small, a finger, a toe, your eyes. The small movements come back first, and one of them usually breaks the whole thing. Breathe slowly and shallowly, on purpose. You can't take a deep breath. You don't need one. You're getting enough air. You always were. And name it. Say to yourself, this is sleep paralysis. It lasts seconds. It always ends. Knowing what it is takes most of the fear out of it, which is really why you're watching this. One more thing, and this matters. If this happens to you often, and you're also very sleepy during the day, or you ever go weak in the knees when you laugh, that's worth mentioning to a doctor. Those together can point to something specific and treatable. For most people, it's just a glitch in the handover between sleeping and waking. So, here's the whole thing. Your brain switches your body off every night to keep you safe. Occasionally, you wake up before it switches you back on. And in that gap, an alarm goes off with nothing to point at, so your mind builds a figure to explain it. It's terrifying. It's harmless. And it's been happening to people for as long as there have been people, which is why every language on Earth has a name for the same monster. If it's happened to you, tell me in the comments. What did yours look like? I read all of them, and the answers to this one are going to be extraordinary.